All right, everyone, only really one thing we could possibly start with this morning, the thing that virtually every Celtic fan is talking about, Ange Postecoglou. At the start of the season, he said, I usually win things in my second season. He then corrected that shortly afterwards to say, actually, I always win things in my second season. He was mocked by the media and fans down south. Even his own fans used it as a stick to beat him with at times. He's been written off. And finally, with a club who are probably pretty famous, certainly in modern days, for not being able to win trophies, last night he won a trophy, the Europa League. Good on you, Ange. Yeah, amazing to see our former boss, who so many of us still hold in such high regard for the job he did at Celtic, succeeding last night with Spurs, winning the Europa League and also ending a 17-year drought for a trophy. Yeah, it's difficult at other clubs. We're pretty fortunate to support a team who wins so often. Celtic posted a congratulations online shortly after full-time, saying, a winner once again, never in doubt, he never stops. Congratulations, Ange. And I was looking back and that was actually Celtic's first mention of Ange publicly since the message saying that he'd left the club 2 years ago. Yeah, the game wasn't a classic, it's fair to say. I'm pretty glad that I set my alarm for 6 a.m. and woke up for the second half. Spurs, this is interesting, Spurs only had 28% possession in the match, completed just 115 passes, which is the lowest that Opta has ever recorded for a team in a major European final, ever. And this is an Ange Postecoglou team we're talking about. So certainly a bit of a different approach, but an amazing result for Spurs. I'm just delighted for him. He was a brilliant Celtic manager who got us back to the top of Scottish football, which was really no formality at the time, given where we were after the COVID season. We all took to him. We all felt he was special. I mean, those 2 years we had together were amazing, especially that first season. That was like as invigorated I've ever felt, I think, as a Celtic fan. I was saying yesterday, that season will take a hell of a lot of beating for me in terms of excitement and joy, I guess, at the end of the campaign. And amazing times looking back at it. And it's amazing to see that being realised again at Spurs. I know they were totally shocking, or have been totally shocking in the Premier League this season. I doubt any Spurs fans really care about that waking up this morning. And Postecoglou made a great point. He said that for this team and I guess the club to move forward, we had to win something. You know, finishing fourth wouldn't have done it. The fact that they've won a trophy now, and like against Spurs, as I say, I know a few people were saying to me online yesterday, Spurs used to win things, but in terms of the 21st century, Spurs are pretty famous for not winning things, and yet Postecoglou's gone in there and within 2 seasons has not just won a trophy, not the League Cup or whatever, which would still have been celebrated immensely. He's won a European trophy with Spurs, I think their first one in 40 odd years. So incredible stuff. Question would be now, what happens? What does he do now? This may be an unpopular opinion, because I know there's a lot of people out there who still think, well, number one is Ange should win the Europa League and walk away. Clearly, he's made that pretty clear. He's not going to walk away. He feels he's still got stuff to do at Spurs. A lot of other people saying, okay, they've had a terrible domestic season, or certainly league season. Daniel Levy will sack him and they'll move on to someone else. I would be pretty surprised if that happens now, just given what he's achieved and how much those players still seem to be on his side and playing for him. I mean, it's incredible. And I guess the irony now is that he could scoop another trophy in a matter of months. They'll play either Inter Milan or Paris Saint-Germain in Italy in August in the Super Cup. They are also into the UEFA Champions League phase now, Spurs, after winning last night. So I think one of 6 English teams in that competition next year, which is, I don't know, a bit ridiculous given that we as Scottish champions still have to qualify. But should we qualify, Yeah, God. Ange back at Celtic Park. Would anyone fancy that? I'd certainly fancy us against Spurs or, Man United. I know we can't get Man United, but based off last night, I'd certainly fancy Celtic against either of those teams. And hopefully Ange does come back to Celtic Park and gets bodied by Brendan and the boys. But an amazing achievement, and I know I've spent a wee bit of time on it, but it's fair to say a lot of people talking about it last night. I'm so happy for him. I loved him as Celtic manager. I know the way he left a bit of a bitter taste in some people's mouths, and it was frustrating at the time. But you thank him for what he did at the club, and I think the vast majority of Celtic fans, if not virtually everyone, is wishing him all the best and is absolutely delighted to see him succeeding. So, well done, Ange, and well done, Fraser Forster as well, who was part of the Tottenham Hotspur squad that won the competition, and he actually played a number of games earlier in the tournament. Notice I didn't congratulate Tottenham Hotspur as a club. Yeah. Okay, the rest of today's video is going to be made up of chat about James Forrest, because there was I've said interview, it was a press conference yesterday that for me is the best, the most interesting press conference I've ever heard from James Forrest. So much interest and insight from him speaking to fan media. We'll come on to that. Just a little bit of housekeeping first. Everyone, we are getting closer to 15,000 subscribers. I really, really, really want to get there before Saturday. If we don't get there before Saturday, I'll probably be that down that I won't even bother going out for the game. So if you want to ruin my weekend, then go ahead. See, I'm guilt tripping you a bit here. No, I think we're like less than 500 people away from getting to 15,000 subscribers, which is a big target before the end of the season. There's literally thousands of you watching these videos every single day who haven't clicked that button. I still love you just for the fact that you watch these videos, but if you could just click subscribe, it's completely free, takes 2 seconds, and means that I can go and enjoy my weekend, and indeed my summer as well. So please do that, everyone. Secondly, Spurs may have won a European Cup last night. They've never won the European Cup though, unlike a certain team that we all love. And this fabulous t-shirt that I've got on today, if I just hold that, celebrates that brilliant success that we had in 1967. I've been sent it by the legends at Midfield of Dreams, a football-inspired clothing brand celebrating iconic midfield lineups from Celtic history. And yeah, there's modern ones with Maida, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, Jota. There's ones from the 90s, O'Donnell, Hannah, Di Canio, Grant, Donnelly. There's ones from the 60s, obviously Lisbon Lions, as I say, the classic one that you can get involved with. They've also got a new 55 range on the go at the moment, celebrating our most recent league triumph, and the t-shirt feels really good. It looks good. A big thanks to them for sending that along. Please check out Midfield of Dreams. The link to their Celtic range is in the description. Right, on to James Forrest, by far the most talked about Celtic player over the past, month or so. And yesterday he took part in a press conference with fan media. GigPod were one of the media outlets represented there by the legend Lee, and they, and Steve in particular, has been good enough to share the footage with Celtic AM for you to have a look at. So a big thanks to Stevie for that. There is so much interesting stuff here from James Forrest on different topics, and I think it's fair to say James Forrest speaking more openly than ever before with fan media. Now, I know I'm a little bit biased, but I wonder if there's any sort of correlation there from the fact that it's actual fans asking questions that you're getting better answers from James Forrest. To be honest, in many cases, better questions as well. So, without further ado, we'll go for it. I obviously wasn't there, so I haven't been able to give the proper credit to all of the fan media outlets that were there. I do know that Celts are here, chime in with the first few questions. Tino from the Celtic Exchange is there as well. Obviously, GigPod. I think the Homeboys were as well, but not 100% sure. Enjoy, everyone.
Being the most decorated player in Celtic's history, that's something special. Come through the ranks at Lennox time, did you ever imagine that would happen for you?
No, you don't. Obviously, when you're coming through the youth, Tommy Burns would always be there, and he would always make sure like families and players knew that not a lot of players like come through the Celtic Academy and make it. So it was obviously like a dream to like make your debut and obviously stay and play for Celtic for so many times, so many seasons, and I've never took it for granted, and obviously I won't until I finish playing here.
A few weeks ago, during the international break, you were down training with the youngsters. Now, looking forward to a few more years' time, is that something you want to become more involved in and maybe a coaching those youngsters having come through the academy yourself?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was good because I'd come back training. Obviously, I was out with a bad injury for a few months, and I think that the boys deservingly, they got a bit of time off. So I trained with it was like half of the B team and half the 18s. So I actually really enjoyed it. Like McManus and Johnny Hayes, they took the training, but I think it was good for me. I think it was maybe good for the youngsters. There was some boys at 16, 17. There was a few older ones as well. But no, I enjoyed it. I feel as though like it's good for them to see that a first team player, like maybe one of the oldest in the team, still coming down and training and working hard with them. So I think that was maybe good for them. But it was obviously good for me as well to see like the young boys coming through, and definitely a few of them's been up training with the first team as well and the fit in as well. So to get that experience for them is great for them.
James, your goal on Saturday was something special, and congratulations again on that one. You'll remember that, I'm sure, for years to come, as well as your debut goal for Celtic against Motherwell back in May 2010, I think it was. Those two goals aside, what other goal or goals stand out for you during your 15-16 seasons?
I think maybe obviously the Carragandi game, that was obviously a big one. Like you've got the Rangers game, the one that we won at Celtic Park, we won the league that day. There's kind of two that kind of jump out, but as I said, that there's just been so many memories, so many highs, and it's just unbelievable when you get that feeling that you just want more of it. And as I said, I've managed to have so many great times at Celtic, and you see Saturday it's still happening. So I just want to keep hope there's a few more to come.
Yeah, I hope so. You're surrounded by really experienced guys, James, in the shape of Brendan Rodgers, Cal Mack alongside you, KT coming back. Who's been the most influential figure out with those guys in your Celtic career, and what's the best advice you've been given during those years?
Obviously, straight away, I think like I wouldn't be here obviously without my family. I think everyone sees like the highs, and you can get people that are always there when the highs, but they kind of see it all. And obviously, like the sacrifice from my mum and dad, like them having to like take me to training 4 nights a week, like just anything I wanted to do, like regarding the football, they would always be there. So that's obviously massive. Just like them being there the full time. But then obviously a big one's like, it's hard to pinpoint like one youth coach, because I think every year your youth coaches change, and so many of them have played a part. But definitely maybe the gap between like kind of the youth to the first team, like Neil Lennon, had him at reserves, and he was really good for me. So like he kind of knew what I could do, and then he got like the intern job at the first team. He was wanting to bring me up, so I think he showed a lot of faith in me, and so I think he was massive. And obviously at the time as well, like Scott Brown, I think when I was younger, I was confident, but I was really quiet. So I think like Lennon, he done something good. He always made me like be a part of, like if Bruni was there, he would do stuff in that as well. And you look back in it now and you think it's so hard to be like club captain and playing for Celtic. Never mind like the influence he done with me, like off the park and like on the park as well. He would help me out. So it's, as I said, I don't like just naming a couple, but there's been so many. But I definitely think like family, Lennon, Bruni, and obviously the gaffer here in so many spells. It's no, they've really helped me.
Now you're one of the experienced guys, James, and the young lads, and you mentioned they're training with the B team and the 18s. They'll all be looking up to you and hoping to in some way replicate the success you've had. We've seen a wee bit of Sean McArdle the last couple of weeks. What kind of advice would you give a young guy like Sean who's trying to make his way through and trying to become the next James Forrest?
I know. I think it's great. He's been up a few times training, and you see when he's come on the park as well, he looks confident. And I think for him, what he's been doing is he's earned the right to come up and train with the first team. And obviously with his position, I think if he watches Cal every day, just the way he applies himself like, on and off the park, and also what he's done in himself. I think if he just keeps bringing what he does, then I think that's good for him as well. And maybe not to get carried away. I think in football and maybe with social media and stuff like that as well. Like I think if you do have a high, it is easy just to maybe get carried away. But I think you can. I think at this club it's good because like you'll get the press, you'll get the fans, definitely the staff and the players. They don't let you get carried away. So I think we have got a good group that. He wouldn't be like that anyway, but I'm just saying for young boys it is good that they have got like surroundings with people like that they will keep them grounded.
As you kind of look back on your kind of personal and sort of team achievements over the past sort of 16 years, I'm curious, is there any sort of particular goal or trophy that you really kind of regret that you maybe never achieved or got away?
To be honest, it's hard. Like, even when you get told like an achievement that you've done, like you've never thought I'm set out to do that. I think, especially here, like there's been so many like boys have spoken about it and staff as well. Like there's so many trophies or cups that we've won, and we've not really been able to celebrate it. There's been like a league game 3 days later, and it's like quickly like on to the next one. So that's what I think. Like maybe once I finish and I look back at like all the different cups and trophies and stuff. I'll be able to think about it more then. But as I said, I think the club's had so much success. I think from not resting on what they've done, it is always like you do enjoy it, but then sometimes it is like you don't want to take it for granted. So you're, as I said, like a big achievement happens, and then a couple of days later, like everyone's focused on the next one to keep it going. And I think it has been like that for many years now.
Finally, kind of how hard is it to be like a one-man club? Have you ever been like close over the years to maybe having to leave, or has there ever been a sliding door moment where you thought, I might have just been here for 4 or 5 seasons and here you are kind of 16 years later in the first team?
Obviously, this club is massive. Everyone knows like the fan base, the pressure within it. But no, I think the only time that I was really came close, like my contract come down to, I think I had 6 months left of my contract, and it was like the gaffer's first spell. He come in, and it was actually strange because my contract was up in the December, so like I could have signed for teams in like the 1st of July, but obviously the gaffer come in and the pre-season, and within a week I had 2 conversations with him, and right away I just knew I wanted to stay, he wanted me to stay, and we got the contract done pretty quick, and I've never looked back. And to be honest, like when you're playing well, like when you're doing well for Celtic, like the international scene, like that comes along with it as well. And play Champions League games, you're going for trophies, and I just think it's just kind of, that's been the only kind of spell that I thought I didn't know where I was going to go. I don't know if the club were want me to move on, or I just didn't know what was going to happen. But it's kind of worked out perfect in the end when you think about it. And as I said, hopefully until I finish, I can get some more good moments.
And last one, James, after 16 years, are you finally happy to have a song?
I know.
I was late about the start of the song.
I know. I think my family are surprised by that one as well. They've always been sagging me for that. But no, it was great. It was obviously Wednesday night, Aberdeen. It was such a great feeling, and I feel as though like the last 4 weeks, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, every time I met someone in the street or just talking to anyone, I just felt as though everyone was like really wanting me to score. So Saturday, I was just, it was just great the way it happened, and I was really thankful that I could to score, and just because how much everyone was really wanting me to do. So I'm glad I managed to like kind of repay that.
You've been part of multiple European campaigns in your tenure. Some have been more successful than others. Looks as though we made some real progress this year. How's it feeling in the camp and for you individually going into next year and having another crack at the Champions League, given how well received we were in Europe this year?
Yeah, I think the boys done really well in Europe this year. I think and like personally enjoyed the different layout as well. I think it was good. You're playing different teams, and I know it was important, and obviously getting out the group and that as well. So I think the fans love the away Champions League games, the home Champions League games. So I think everyone at the club will be looking forward to make sure we get in that next year, and obviously the manager and the staff, they'll be wanting to like progress and do well in it as well.
Yeah, one very final question, James. Now, right, you go.
ex-teammate of yours, Scott Brown, doing great in management. You've spoken about getting a little bit of exposure to the coaching side. Any appetite to come back in a top job in future years?
What, Bruno to get it, or me?
No, for you.
Oh, to me to get it. No, I think like players and like people have always told me like kind of do your coaching badges like maybe like a couple of years before you finish. But I've just the way I've always just wanted to just focus on playing just now. Like I feel as though I've loved football since I was a wee boy, and I know I want to still be a part of it. But while I'm here in Celtic, we've got so many games, and as I said, like training, it's a long season. So no, I just want to focus. I've got another year here. I'll keep working hard, and then once I do decide to finish, I'll definitely want to be in the game some capacity, and I'll maybe just see what options at times and to see what I want to do. But definitely, I love football, so I will want to be involved in it some way.
Wow, I didn't actually have James Forrest down as a future coach. I've actually thought in the past, what will he do when he inevitably retires, leaves Celtic, etc. And I think I always had him down for like an ambassadorial role, like the kind of Tom Boyd type thing, and going to matches and talking up the club and various things like that. So interesting to hear that he really does have an interest in staying in the actual football. Yeah, the more you think about it, he'd be a really good coach, wouldn't he? Because he's turned into such an experienced player, and he'd have so much wisdom, I guess, to pass on to people. Yeah, I mean, I love the fact he this will sound daft, he answered some of the questions. A lot of the times with footballers, when they're asked stuff like, what's your favourite goal, etc., they say, I've just had so many, it's hard to choose. James Forrest actually, listed the Carragandi goal, which we all remember, I'm sure. The Rangers goal, one of his goals against Rangers in that 3-0 game, which is probably my favourite James Forrest goal. And it's certainly hard to disagree with that. Just picking up on something else, I enjoyed him chatting about his family and their sacrifices. I think I've mentioned a few times, I'm trying not to mention it too much, but James Forrest is from the same town as me, which a lot of you will know, Prestwick in glorious Ayrshire. I don't know if glorious is fair enough, but I was kind of relatively close to James's brother Alan when I was growing up, and spent a bit of time at the house and got to know them and got to know their parents and all of that stuff. And yeah, it's great hearing James talking about the sacrifices that his mum and dad made, and I guess not just with him. I guess families with one aspiring footballer growing up would be busy as it is, taking them to and from training up in Glasgow or whatever, taking them to and from matches, etc. Other things, maybe different bits of gear needing to be bought and stuff. But they had it with two players, and Alan was actually at Celtic for a number of years. Has obviously ended up, going down a different path as a player currently at Hearts. So he's made a great career for himself as well. But yeah, it was great to hear James Forrest chatting about their family. They're such a humble family. And I guess that comes across in the way that James comes across. And it's great to see everyone picking up on that now. He's not on social media at all, James Forrest. You never see him posting stuff or getting carried away, and I think it's a great example to set. And I'm just so glad he's getting all the credit he deserves now. I think it's been a long time in the making. It's not always been a perfect relationship between him and lots of the Celtic support. I do feel he was undervalued for a fair amount of time, but I just think at this point, 16 years in, all of these goals, all of these amazing moments he's given us, whether it's goals, assists, performances, trophies, it's amazing just to see him finally getting that recognition. And he's not finished yet. I think that's a great thing. Like most of us would have him in the starting lineup for Saturday. So this isn't a guy who's like retiring or anything. He can still offer Celtic stuff right now. And I actually think people actually still undervalue him in terms of what he can offer this first team now. He very rarely has a bad game, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. So, yeah, I'm a little bit biased with James Forrest because I knew him growing up, and kind of have been following his career since even before he got that debut against Motherwell and scored in his debut. But amazing stuff. And I loved the scenes the other day with Bobby Lennox as well, that the club posted after the game at the weekend. Obviously, the former most decorated Celt passing the torch to the new incumbent. So, amazing stuff. All right, everyone, that's pretty much it for today as we build ahead to Saturday. We'll have another video tomorrow, which will be a preview to the game. I did see an interesting story yesterday about 2 Aberdeen fans travelling 10,000 miles, apparently, from Sydney for the Scottish Cup final. They're also Man United fans, so they went to Bilbao first. That didn't go too well for them last night, so I guess if Saturday doesn't go to plan, it might be a bit of a wasted trip for them. But yeah, I'm not sure things are going to get much better for them on Saturday. I do fancy Celtic strongly. But yeah, that's us for today, everyone. I appreciate you tuning in once again. Remember to subscribe if you've not done it yet, and I will return tomorrow.